Take a step with me down reaction inception, where I react to Chandler David Smith's video entitled Grant Cardone Destroyed by Stephan.
What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and in this video, I'm going to show you how Stephan has absolutely destroyed Grant Cardone.
Before we begin, I want to start by saying I'm a fan of all three. They all provide value, and it's healthy to get different opinions on topics. Also, as crazy as it may seem, they can all be right even if at times they contradict each other.
There are so many exceptions depending on the situation that could make one method better than another.
The reason for that is different strategies work for different people.
You got two choices on this planet. You're either gonna save money or you're gonna grow money. And I'm just gonna do the one that has the biggest potential. I either reduce my expenses or I raise my income. Which one you guys wanna do?
Reacting to Chandler David Smith reacts to Stephan reacting to Grant Cardone. This video randomly came up on my suggested YouTube, and after I watched it, I thought this would be great to dissect. So let's jump in. Firstly, this video is a bit critical of Grant Cardone, but it's only one aspect of his business.
Stephan has completely left Grant Cardone in the dust, and he has done it in a fraction of the time.
Chandler makes some good points about how Graham has outdone Grant on YouTube. A valid point, however, Grant also has bought multiple private jets in that time, so he can't be doing that badly. In order to grow a business to such a large scale, you need to operate differently to optimizing your personal finances. When one person flies around the world on their own private jet and another has never left the USA, I don't think you can say Graham has destroyed Grant. Not to put Graham down, but outside of YouTube, Grant is clearly generating more income. Grant Cardone has a much bigger business behind him. He's doing millions of dollars in courses with a whole team selling those. He's doing large events and so on. Those are nothing to sneeze at. Graham does sell courses, but I don't think anywhere near the same scale as Grant's. I remember meeting a guy who was going to fly from here in Australia to the 10X conference, and he said he doesn't even watch Grant's stuff.
But Stephan has absolutely left him in the dust. No one can argue that.
I think what often gets lost in business training or personal success training is the idea that there isn't just one way to be successful. Toyota is a successful business that sells items for tens of thousands of dollars. McDonald's is a successful business that sells low-cost items. Entirely different businesses, lots of positives and negatives, however, both undeniably successful. And yet they both operate entirely differently. You can take elements of both. That is, Grant Cardone's marketing, sales, and business skills, especially in scaling a business, provides a lot of value.
10x!
Even if you think he comes off as brash or abrupt, or you disagree with his business model, he's undeniably scaled a large business.
Do it.
In the same sense, Stephan's personal finance messages are also powerful.
And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to show you Graham's biggest secret. It's not only wrecking Grant Cardone, but also becoming the biggest financial YouTuber in the entire space.
This is a nuanced discussion, and I think that too many people go into either A or B, instead of thinking about the nuances of A can be right here and B can be right there. Also, A can be right for one person in this situation, but B is right for a different person in the same situation. If you think about this in the context of sport, no matter how good a coach is, they still lose games. There are times they are wrong. There are some coaches that prioritize defense, whilst others prioritize offense. Coaches also study how other teams and therefore other coaches approached a particular opponent. At times they take on board what worked, at times they go the other way and try something different. The coaches also have to work with the team that they have. For you, you need to work with what you have. That is your skills, your experiences, and what you enjoy.
So my targets today are this. Who's got that money?
Grant is very pro-sales and in your face, and no matter what, there are some people who would never be interested in selling, so they would be better to save. Graham is very savings-oriented, and honestly, there are some people who, even if they know they should save, just won't do it. So they would be better to focus on trying to earn more. They will naturally filter their audience more towards the people that suit them. However, many people will say either is wrong, but what they actually mean is that they are wrong for them. There's also a whole bunch of overlap as well, where people take good parts of each person as well.
Or maybe you were hoping to see a video like this, where the Wolf of Wall Street tossed softball pitch questions to Grant Cardone, and he ended up way in left field with his answers.
They're like, no, don't come by. But see, that was interest. To me, that's interest. No, I'm not interested. Not interested
so not interested to use interest.
Well, it is. It says not interested. Not is an adjective to describe interest.
Grant's answer here is very weird and hard to justify. I think he came off really badly in this interview, and I definitely took a negative view of him after that. However, one thing I would point out about this interview is that Grant clearly wasn't trying to be friendly with Jordan, and many people take Jordan's side on that because in the interview, Grant comes off badly. But it is important to mention that Jordan may be trying to be the nice guy now, but his past is bad and not just doing the drugs bad. Regardless of how people want to spin it, he made a lot of money from taking advantage of other people. There are a lot of questions still out there about how much that money has been paid back, and just because he settled with the government doesn't mean investors got their money back, or that those people ever will. I probably come off as anti-Graham in this, but that's only because Chandler was too pro-Graham and underplayed other aspects of Grant's success, at least in my opinion. Stephan comes off as more likable, and even Grant Cardone himself even talks about enjoying people hating him and being okay with it because at least they know who he is. However, what I think Chandler missed is that in terms of scale, Grant is undeniably bigger at this point. Now, who's to say in 5 years' time that things aren't different? However, Graham's style also holds him back. His unwillingness to scale or hire more people to do stuff for him limits how much he can grow.
Because this is the game. How can you scale your business so that you're not doing all the work? And so that you can do things like this. That is the thing you should be working for.
Whereas Grant is happy to do things at a much greater scale. Stephan's brand isn't on a jet or at a sports stadium, so I don't know how he can say that it's bigger than Grant's. Graham is growing quick and is bigger on YouTube, but his brand as a whole is not bigger. Graham doesn't have the books, the events, the business clients, and so on.
The reality is that Stephan has absolutely wrecked Grant Cardone in not only building an audience and building a brand, but racking on the YouTube views and subscribers.
What Graham has done in the time span is impressive. You can say he is faster, you can even say he is better, but you can't say he's bigger because the numbers don't lie.
The first number I want to jump into is subscribers. Now, if you look at Stephan, he is now at 2.2 million subscribers. All right, that's pretty insane. But now when you jump over to Grant Cardone, he's only at 1.3 million subscribers.
These numbers, whilst interesting and show how impressive Graham is on YouTube, however, that's not income. How many subscribers someone gets per video is not how much income someone gets. It's also not how big their business is.
So Stephan over here, with only 3 years on YouTube, now has 2.2 million subscribers, and Grant Cardone, who's been doing this for 12 years, all right? And years before that, building his brand, and he's only got 1.3 million subscribers.
Yes, it's an increase in YouTube ads, but when you have as many products and at the high prices Grant has, his value per viewer is substantially more. That's not even to say that Grant's methods are better or he is better at business, but the end result is substantially different. Look, Chandler clearly knows Graham and likes him, and Graham is obviously a more likable guy. But you can't compare Grant and Graham and only focus on YouTube to justify why Graham's brand is bigger when clearly, as a whole, Grant's is. Only one of the two would even worry about how much their coffee is.
The secret to literally all of my success, everything, my millions of dollars, the almost 1 million followers, everything boils down to just this. The 20-cent iced coffee. It's liquid gold.
Even Grant Cardone himself has made fun of this strategy.
I would never, ever buy a coffee at Starbucks. Yes, that's why I told Elena, you go to Target as much as you want. You can stay as long as you want. You can't hurt me there. Okay, if coffee is your problem, you got other problems. Everybody agree?
Stephan making 1.6 million or 2 million or even the 6 million I think he said he made last year is not enough for a private jet.
You could take Stephan's income from last year of $1.6 million and you could have enough to buy iced coffee every single day for 1,000 years.
Again, the numbers are really impressive and he's rising quickly, but there's a massive difference between the two, which is my core problem with this video. It underestimates how far ahead as a whole Grant Cardone is at this point.
But the thing that makes it material is it makes him relatable. It makes his brand so freaking relatable to everyone.
The fact that Stephan is relatable is absolutely true and is a key reason why his videos do so well. In fact, it's why I enjoy them myself.
It's because he always begs and pleads and coerces you into smashing that like button. So out of respect to Graham Stephan, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel while you're here.
But just because someone is more relatable and even likable doesn't mean he has a bigger brand or a bigger business. If anything, becoming more successful actually makes you less relatable.
I mean, step back and look at Graham's brand. He has iced coffee for 20 cents every morning. Anyone can do that. His car is a Tesla Model 3 that cost him $30,000. Anyone can do that. It's super relatable. He just bought a duplex. Even though he makes over $2 million a year, he buys a duplex.
Graham embraces being relatable, whereas Grant embraces not being relatable in my opinion. Starbucks is a prime example. My local cafe run by a small family is much more relatable, it's better priced, better coffee, everything about it is better to me. But that doesn't make them a bigger brand than Starbucks. They might even make more profit per store than Starbucks. Starbucks is still a bigger brand. Grant has said that he bought the jet so he could travel more. As someone who's had to travel internationally regularly for work, I can say it absolutely sucks. The flying part mostly, as well as the getting through airports part. So being able to avoid that and having more freedom is worth it, and since it's a business expense, it's a write-off. But this is the big difference. You can't write off a jet on only $2 million profit.
That he made over $1.6 million last year, and he's probably on track to clear $2 million, if not way more than that, in this current year.
So yes, it's relatable and might not perform the same, but the end results and the size of a brand can't be judged on how relatable you are.
Because they want what he has now, but he's not doing what they need to do now, and because of that, the carryover is hard.
Also, just because Grant is at a stage where he lives differently now, he can still talk about what he went through to get there. So obviously he has experience of being younger and not being able to afford stuff. Just because he has moved past that stuff doesn't mean he can't teach how he did it. In fact, the fact that he successfully moves to the next stages means that he's arguably better to give that advice than someone who is still fighting through those challenges. Also, I think Chandler makes a really good point here, where he talks about the struggle when you make any money and want to keep saving, but also you can afford to spend, but have trained yourself to be so frugal as you grow.
Now, even with my own brand, I've struggled with this because I've gotten to the point where I have passive income to where I can buy the cars and the house and the nice things, and it's a struggle because why would I continue to live frugally when I can finally afford these nice things?
So you end up stuck in two minds. Do I spend money because I know I can, or do I remain frugal, worried about the fact that my bad habits might start to creep in?
He has built a brand off of iced coffee that only costs him 20 cents, not because that's going to actually save him any money. It's immaterial. But because it has built a brand that everyone flocks to, everyone relates to, and then he backs it up with great humor, great content, great information all the way around, and a brand that people can trust.
Finally, we end with this, which again, he is true to his brand, he is likable and all that, but if anything, based on Grant's clearly bigger income, this is actually saying that Grant has optimized his brand to make more off smaller audience.
That is the reason that Grant is successful. On top of being super likable, having great humor, having great content, his true secret is the iced coffee and the brand that he's built and never stepping outside of it.
I just want to round this out by saying I enjoy all three of these creators. They all have large brands. I think Chandler just underestimates how big Grant's brand is. And I think he overlooked how much money Grant makes outside of YouTube. But still, Graham's rise is still very impressive. I think you can learn from all three of them. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and as always, good luck.
So anyway, to sum things up, I don't disagree with Grant at all, because there are certainly a lot of very good advantages to what he says, and by no means is he wrong with anything that he says. So I definitely see a lot of benefit in everything he talks about.